So now I'm ready to drop my slab, my soft slab, into a mold. This is just a plastic bowl. Any bowl will do. Obviously the higher it is, it's going to take on this interior shape more or less. These edges, if the piece folds over and this is a really hard edge, it's going to really be apparent in your slab. So one thing you can do for sure to mitigate that is to put, and this helps you to release the piece also, is to put a piece of cloth, some kind of fabric in there. So I've got this, a really good piece of fabric is like an old t-shirt, an old favorite t-shirt that you don't want to get rid of. Maybe it's too good to be a rag. It's nice and soft. But this apron is going to do the trick for right now. I'm just pressing it in so it takes on that form. And I really want to make sure that it is draped over the edges. And I'm just going to peel up from either side and drop it into this form, okay? I'm just doing the same thing with my left hand, just gradually working it up. Oh, I'll drop it. Drop it on in. And it's gonna get these funny folds. All these weird things are gonna happen. And the inside and the outside are gonna mix a little bit. Just play with it a little bit, but not too much. And it's going to have a really cool form when you're all done. You may see, once this sets up a little bit, and if you can get to them, you may want to smooth even further these edges. They're going to want to dry first because the edges are so thin. So you can just take your finger to these edges. If there's a very prominent fold, like right here, this fold, I may want to try and integrate those together a little bit so that when it fires, it all sticks together. It doesn't fall apart. But I'm not going to play too much with this because I want to keep that really weird form that is so impossible to duplicate, that I created simply by dropping this slab into the mold. So if I need to, I can touch up with my brush any places where I have taken the slip away. I'm going to let this sit in this mold for a little while. I'm going to keep checking on it, and when it doesn't really move too much, I'm going to then pop it out of the mold. So this piece has been setting up for a day. I had it covered up, and about 24 hours later I've come back, and if I just touch on these sides, I can see that it's really firmed up. It's not flopping around. There's not much give, but it is slightly pliable. So I'm going to try lifting this out, and I'm going to lift it by this red apron, lift the whole thing out of the mold, and see if it stands up. Something you have to remember with these is if it's going out this way in the kiln, these are so thin that as it heats up in the kiln, it's going to want to start to slump like this. So when you're making pieces in molds, you want to keep it, like if my thumbs are the outside walls, kind of keep it more around this shape rather than way out like this, because gravity, heat, it's going to start to deform in the kiln. So I'm just going to lift this pretty much straight up. See what happens. Hopefully it doesn't totally flop apart. Oh, a little too floppy. Just going to put it back in that mold. And let it set up some more.